So, since it's Halloween, I think it's only fair that we talk about something deeply disturbing, frustrating, disgusting, what we do every day, honestly, so it's no different, but it's Halloween, so slightly different. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that a lot of this goes back to what I think about influencers generally. And certainly there are plenty of influencers that this category does not pertain to. But the reality of the influencers that are so out of touch is crazy to me every single time. Now, I know we've seen plenty of examples of influencers who just seem socially unaware. And for the most part, I can write those influencers off to some degree because a lot of them have a following that's like 3 million people, right? And that's not to say that it's acceptable, but I can understand how it is that they became out of touch, right? I can understand kind of how the fame got to their heads, which again, isn't an excuse, but a little more understanding there. When it's influencers who are still micro-influencers, when it's influencers who still live a quote-unquote normal life in the sense of they don't have 7 mansions, they're not going to all these events, they haven't just launched a brand, when it's people who still live a kind of normal life, that's where I have more difficulty understanding how you become out of touch, because I'm like, hello, you live a normal life. Like, you are in contact with humans at large. You're not secluded in your $1 million mansion at the top of a mountain in Florida, right? So I don't understand how it is that they became that way. It's almost like when you see B-list celebrities acting like they're really famous and then you're like, you're not. But anyway, so what we're talking about today is this influencer, content creator, whatever, who decided to go to Jamaica even though there was a Category 5 hurricane on its way. I'm going to show you a couple of TikToks and then we'll discuss, because this is so disturbing to me as a new kind of trend, because what I think this is not starting but bringing to the surface is the trend of capitalizing on tragedy, in the sense of you're putting yourself in harm's way so you can make content about the harm that's happening to another country and another country's people while you're there on quote unquote vacation. And I think that that is not just underlining that you have the survival instincts of a goldfish, but also the fact that you really feel like you're not going to have any repercussions, right? Because most people who go into a Category 5 hurricane worry that they might, die, but you're just sure you're not gonna, and you're just gonna go. Anyway, here are a couple of TikToks. So these TikToks seem relatively harmless right now, because if you didn't know that she went on this vacation knowing full well that the hurricane was on its way, then you'd say, oh, that's a shitty situation to find yourself in, right? Because it is. But there was a TikTok that is deleted, and she's also disabled her comments. So if this TikTok was screenshotted or whatever in the comments, that's not visible anymore. But there was a TikTok that she deleted wherein it's her and her friend, I believe, skipping at the airport, saying something along the lines of going on vacation knowing that there's a Category 5 hurricane. Something along the lines of knowing that a hurricane is on its way. So there's no potential feigned ignorance here. It's not like she showed up and she had no idea. Also, because if you're traveling somewhere, you best know kind of what's going on, right? I feel like that's obvious. But anyway, so you have this TikTok when she's at this bar getting her drinks, and she's kind of trying to quirkify the hurricane, which is interesting because for me, I'm not saying you need to go in panic mode immediately, but at some point you'd think that there'd be a moment of self-reflection to be like, hey, Hannah Grace, what you did was really fucking stupid, because what did you do? You put yourself in harm's way. You also put yourself in a position where you very well may be stuck there for longer than you think, because you think, what, the hurricane's going to pass through, it's going to cause irreparable damage, and we'll look at footage of what's happened. And then what, you're going to catch a plane and leave? You think planes are landing? You think planes are leaving? There are some people who are trying to get out of the country. There are other content creators who are actually stuck there who are trying to get out of the country. And they were saying that they couldn't find a way out. I saw one person who magically found a way out. That's the only person. Everyone else is stuck and afraid. But they're there because they were already there, not because they decided to fly in when a hurricane was coming in order to be quirky on TikTok, okay? And more than anything, you know you really fucked up if the New York Post calls you an idiot influencer.
Yes, you have no roof whatsoever.
Yeah, so here you see a TikTok where they're starting to tape down the windows so then the glass doesn't break in every which direction. I think it's supposed to help the glass from dispersing everywhere. And I don't know how you post all of this stuff not feeling like a fucking moron. Because realistically, are you now realizing that your life may very well be in danger now that you're seeing all of these precautions being taken in order to minimize damage, but also minimize the damage it could do to you, right? You're not supposed to stand by windows. You can't even get close to windows really when hurricanes are coming. You shouldn't. So it's like, do you not realize that you are not living a quirky, funny, hee hee ha ha situation? And more than that, do you not realize that the majority of the people who are at this resort would rather be at home with their families who might endure God knows what types of losses between destruction of property, hopefully no lives, but still, you'd think you'd feel a little bit of guilt for having these people taping up your windows when you could have simply chosen to not go, but they're here taking care of your dumbass instead of being home with the people they actually want to be protecting.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to give you guys a Hurricane Melissa update for those of you asking. We actually just got out of our hurricane meeting, so I wanted to tell you guys what the update is. So today they moved everybody to the second floor. So we were on the third, they moved us to the second, and that's where everyone will be. And then this morning they came and put these X's on our glass doors so that if the glass breaks, it will help it, I guess, not shatter completely. And then we're supposed to get dinner in an hour. After dinner, we're supposed to head to our rooms and not come out until they knock on our doors within the next couple days. So yeah, we're expected to lose service. The hurricane changed direction and now it's actually headed more towards us than what it was. So definitely just asking prayers for Jamaica, for the whole island. And I will keep you guys updated if I can. So yeah, that is the Hurricane Melissa update.
So I think the fact that there's no real acknowledgement at this point that you chose to be here is wild, because documenting your situation if you're there and shit happens is one thing, and I think people would have an open mind at that and people would pray for you and hope for you, whatever the hell, like positive things for you, right? But here, why on earth, why in God's green earth should I be concerned about your dumbass who decided to come here just because you could for the content, ? When there are people who are actually stuck there. There are people who have kids there. There are people who have no way to protect themselves, really, especially people who might be in a lower socioeconomic level, right? So I don't understand how it is that you're in this resort and you're trying to be relatable, ? When you full on came as a disaster tourist. Low-key, that's what you are.
Hurricane Melissa update for y'all. They are having all the guests go inside by 7:30 or 8. She's saying the winds and the rain will start tonight, and then tomorrow is when it will be the direct hit. So we got our boxed food, we got our water, and now we just wait. Anyways, y'all, I will keep you guys updated when I can, but that is the update as of right now, and it is about 7 p.m. So I feel like right now it's just a waiting game. So bye guys. Just kidding, I'm not going inside yet. Me and my friend decided we are going to try to save these kittens.
Are they the kittens? Is that the kittens?
And maybe take them up to our room because we're scared they're not going to survive it. And they're these baby little kittens.
Oh, he's taking up a poo. Oh my god.
It looks like they put all the pool chairs already in the pool so that they don't damage the windows.
So here we return to a complete lack of social awareness because, again, the cats are a perfect example of what most people in the country are probably dealing with. They're unprepared for this because I don't really think you can fully prepare for a hurricane. Like, you can do a couple of things, but again, the forces of nature. But much like these cats, they're there, they can't leave, and they didn't choose to come in specifically to be a natural disaster tourist like you did. So then this whole thing of being like, we want to save the cats, it's like, okay, well, that's nice, I guess, but I think the resounding question in the room is, why are you here? Part of me thinks, and this might be a little bit of a hater thing, but part of me does think that you went on purpose so you'd have an exciting story to tell people that you're just meeting for the first time, so you seem a lot more interesting than you actually are. I think that's the case because realistically, nobody with a functioning brain cell would decide that there's a natural disaster coming and you know what, I'm just going to show up and have my quote unquote vacation there. And I think there's also a false sense of security because maybe you've never lived through a natural disaster, maybe you've never lived through an emergency situation like that, so you kind of think it's going to be exciting, fun and games, and a fun story to tell, when the devastation you're going to witness is going to be heartbreaking. That's assuming you have a brain cell, which at this point, up for debate. So I'm just very confused at this cognitive dissonance. It's actually very, very alarming to me because you're faced with a very obvious situation, right? You don't run towards danger. You run away from danger or you fight the danger, depending. Here, you straight up flew to the danger and now you're acting like you're in this situation that's in no way in your control when you did decide to show up for said situation. Can someone explain what has to happen to you for you to act this way? Does anyone have an explanation? And then she has another TikTok, which I'm not going to bother showing you because it's boring. She's just petting a dog and she's saying that she hopes that all the animals make it out okay. Which I guess, yeah, obviously we'd hope that the animals don't get hurt. Again, you're here wasting people's time and resources because, again, we could have people, instead of being at the resort, they could be at home with their families, making sure that their families don't get fucking annihilated. So, again, I don't understand what the game is here. And if it's rage bait, fair enough, question mark, I guess do your thing, but it is extremely morally bankrupt what's going on here. Let's be real about that. And if you think you're going to get a level of fame and notoriety that you can actually bank off after this, the bad news is that your 15 minutes is going to end and everyone's going to remember you as a moron.
Okay, a lot of you guys are asking about what they gave us for the food. I'm going to show you guys. They gave us waters, so we all took like 2 waters, and then they gave us a turkey sandwich in a box, and then a box of like cereal, and then the other option was like chicken and ham sandwich, and then these are like the boxes. So we each took 2. And then they had apples, so we grabbed a couple apples. But yeah, this is the water and then the pop apples, and that is what we got for the next couple days, couple hours. Again, I will keep you guys updated if anything changes or just update when I can.
It's kind of funny because the way that she talks about the food that they're giving you so you can survive this natural disaster, she's treating it like it's room service. Like, this is what we got from room service. This is what we got from the menu. And it's like, do you understand what potentially is coming your way? I don't wish any harm on this person or anyone at that resort, but you should probably be aware of the harm that could occur, right? Because part of what's making this person particularly dislikable, apart from the questionable decisions, is the fact that you seem to not understand the magnitude. Like, there are disasters like this that have shattered countries and their economies. We know this, right? So the fact that you're acting like this is a quirky little storm while you're on vacation, this is going to devastate people's lives and you're going to fly out and go back to normal. So let's just make sure that everyone remembers that, because it appears that you have not thought about that at all.
Hurricane Melissa update. It's currently 3 a.m. I can't sleep. I'm really scared. The direction of the storm changed and now we're getting the eye of it, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but someone said we have to go through the eye walls now twice,
Okay, so this seems like the first time when there's a minimum of actual awareness as to the predicament that she's in because she's scared, which is not good that she's scared, but at least it shows that you're aware that something serious is going on, because so far nobody would have known you were in a hurricane based on how you're acting. Raiding the food, filming the windows, like, I don't know what is going through her head. Maybe the being scared is her realizing that she fucked up by coming to a country that's dealing with a Category 5 hurricane. Maybe that's still too advanced a thought. But aside from that, I mean, I've never been in this exact predicament. I have been on a small island when a random, completely unpredicted tsunami hit. It was a small one because the wave hit another island and then it hit us, and it was small. It wasn't a big deal. It was more flooding than actual like super big damage because we kind of got the remnants of when a bigger wave hit. Regardless, when that happened and they moved us all to like higher ground, they didn't want us in the building for a while. It was a whole fucking thing. I was not thinking about what are we having for lunch? Let me film what we're having for lunch. What's going on? I was worrying about, do I have waterproof sleeves I can put my passports in? Do I have waterproof sleeves I can put my phone in so I can call for help? Like if everything gets washed away, are there things I can hold on to that would help me get out of the country, get back home, contact help? That's what I was thinking about. I wasn't in my room showing you what I got for lunch, dinner, whatever. Everyone has a different reaction. Everyone has a different way to cope. I don't believe that this is coping. I believe that this is genuinely being very unaware of the predicament, which honestly, I feel like if this is your level of thinking, I don't know if you should be able to have a passport. It's very alarming to me to see people like this, because I wonder how it is you made it to the age you made it to with these types of survival instincts, I have to say.
Hey y'all, I'm back with another Hurricane Melissa update. It's currently 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Did not sleep well last night because of all the crazy sounds. They were just unbelievable, like noises I've never heard of in my life. They woke us up around 8 a.m. to give us another box of food before it hit landfall. This is what it currently looks like outside. As you can see, the wind and the rain is still really strong. We still have a couple more hours to go. Luckily, we had the best staff here at the resort, and we can't thank them enough for everything they did for us and keeping us prepared and protected and safe. Again, we cannot thank them enough. They did such an amazing job. Continuing to ask for prayers for the whole island of Jamaica, including locals, tourists, and all the animals, just that everyone stays safe and protected. Yeah, I will keep you guys updated when I can.
So again, here we have a sliver of social awareness. I have to say, I'm not confident that it came from her own brain as much as I think there were a lot of scathing comments before comments were disabled, because when I first checked, they were not disabled yet. So this is a brand new development. But regardless, I think a lot of the comments were calling her out, saying, hey, like, you're in this shitty situation that you decided to put yourself in. Staff is here because they have to be there because it's their job and they need the money, and they surely probably will need the money after the devastation occurs, right? So her saying, thanks to the staff, prayers for Jamaica, like, it reads as fake and tone deaf and just overall not genuine at all. So good thing that you repeated what you read in the comments and tried to make it seem like it was your own original idea, but let's be honest about that. So she didn't post for a couple days, and I assumed that it was just because there was no service. And then she posted a video showing the dog that she was petting that is obviously still alive. And I'm not going to bother showing you because it's a boring TikTok, and it just says, thank you, Jesus, for saving her, which I'm glad the dog's okay. For the sake of context, I do want to show you a couple of clips of what other resorts, other places in Jamaica look like, just so you understand what we're talking about when we say a Category 5 hurricane, because I think we all have the imagery in our heads. But when you actually see the destruction and devastation of it, everything you just saw with this content creator becomes 10 times more disgusting, annoying, stupid, a lot of negative adjectives, because you're seeing the consequences and what she chose to walk into, right? And the empathy for me runs extremely low. Actually, there's just no empathy. I don't wish ill upon her, but I can say that you really did try to fuck around and you found out. Now, thankfully, she's safe and everything's fine. But I really do wonder how you kind of rationalize this in your head. Because even when you're going to be telling the story to people to try to seem interesting or whatever, when you tell them that you were in Jamaica when this happened and people ask you, oh, so you were already there? Are you going to say, oh, no, I took a plane knowing a Category 5 hurricane was coming and I just decided to go anyway? Are you going to tell that part? Because if you do tell that part, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people will think that mentally you are unwell, and that would be accurate because this is a suicide mission to some degree, right? You're really putting yourself in danger, and for what? For content? For these TikToks? Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.